Hello, and thank you very much for joining us on the Medley Show. My name is Cecile Egbele, and of course, you're watching the Medley Show with Cecile. Today, we'll be talking about toxic relationships. I know maybe, in the month of February, it's supposed to be all love, roses, candies, flowers. Yes, that's good. We've done that and passed. So it's time for us to talk about something which is a reality in the lives of many people, but somehow we just hide and pretend that all is well. Many people live in toxic relationship. When we talk about toxic relationship, what do we mean? Relationship where we're not comfortable, where we feel suppressed, where our voice is not heard. And there are many issues around toxic relationship, and there are many areas we will be looking at as we get on with the program. And I have a guest with me. He's a psychotherapist, and you get to meet him right after this feature, which takes an overlooked view at toxic relationship, and it's put together by Semben Uchuli.
Valentine has come and gone. Cupid has shot his arrows, while for some, Saint Valentine didn't die in vain. When all the flowers have dried up, and the cakes plus chocolates have been digested, one either goes back to the reality that they are still in a relationship or just started a new one, toxic or not. But just to refresh our minds, relationship is the way in which two or more people or things are connected, or the state of being connected, a definition according to Oxford Dictionary. Not all relationships are romantic. It could be between friends, co-workers, family, siblings, or even traders. Some are toxic and some are not. A toxic relationship is by definition a relationship characterized by behaviors on the part of the erring partner that are emotionally frequent and sometimes physically damaging. Here are tips on spotting a toxic relationship.
A toxic relationship damages self-esteem and drains energy.
A healthy relationship contributes to our self-esteem and emotional energy.
A toxic relationship is characterized by insecurity, self-centeredness, dominance, and control.
A healthy relationship involves mutual care, respect, compassion, and ability to share control.
A toxic relationship is very unsafe. Comfort and insecurity are absent in such environments, while a healthy relationship is safe, where comfort and security are present. Like everything in life, there are always types. What makes one stand out? Toxic relationships are no different, some of which are the belittler will constantly belittle you. He or she will make fun of you, essentially implying that pretty much anything you say that expresses your idea, beliefs, or wants is silly or stupid. The guilt inducer. This is where the guilt inducer controls by encouraging you to feel guilty anytime you do something he or she doesn't like. The over-dependent partner. Odd as it may seem, one method of toxic control is for your partner to be so passive that you have to make most decisions for them, even buying cars or what to have for dinner. The user. Users, especially at the beginning of a relationship, often seem to be very nice, courteous, and pleasant individuals as long as they get what they want. Relationships are bound to have some form of toxicity, even healthy ones. This and much more are what we will be looking at on the Medley Show with Cecil.
All right, thank you very much. So it's time to meet my guest, and I hope at the end of this program you learn a thing or two. You go away with a thing or two. Like I said, he is a certified life, marriage, and family therapist. He's an author, he's a counselor, and so much to his credit, and he has quite an intimidating resume. I can't take all right now. Anyhow, it's time to meet my guest, and he is Temple Obike. Temple, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
Yes, thank you very much for taking time to come around. Yes, so let's just go straight in. toxic relationship. You know, back in the days, our parents live in relationship where they tell you just have to manage. Now, so you be husband must beat wife. You don't need to love him. You go grow and everything. So what's all this big grammar about being toxic?
Well, for me, you know, when we talk about toxicity, it's also important to understand that the word by itself has a lot to do with thresholds, in the sense that the parent who is telling you that this is what it was and, you know, manage your relationships and do this, they're only doing it because this is what they are used to. That's why they're advising you based on that perspective. You know, so this is the threshold to which they are able to handle negativity and toxicity, or they were able to handle it in their own relationships.
Yes.
Yes, so obviously that is where their advice will come from.
Okay, so things have changed.
Obviously things have changed. We're a lot more aware.
All right, so let's talk about, first of all, let's go on to talk about why people hold on to relationships, even today, where, you know, there are some relationships you just see people are just in it. But sometimes out of pity, out of the fact that, this guy has been nice to me, or let me just remain in it. It might not be marriage relationship, it can just be regular courting, dating. Oh, let me just remain here. Who knows? I mean, maybe the love will grow.
Okay.
He has been nice to me. He paid my bills. He's taking care of the family. So, I mean, have you had situations like that where you have to manage, and what's the way out?
Oh, loads of them, loads of them. First of all, if you're in a relationship where your partner is toxic and you're there, but you're there because you're pitying them, first of all, you're an enabler. Because what you're simply doing is enabling bad behavior. So if you're in a relationship where you find out that your partner is not everything they ought to be, and this is of course under the assumption that you are also everything you are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yes, if you find out you're in that sort of relationship, the first thing you do is you call it out. Expressly. Put it on the table. It's up for conversation. These are topics to be discussed. You don't enable toxicity. You don't swallow bad behavior because
but sometimes
you're
maybe the
pitiful.
person is intimidated by the other.
And truth be told, if you're intimidated by someone you're in a relationship with, then I question the grounds in which you fell in love with the person in the first place. Because love is mutual. Love has a lot to do with mutual respect for each other. So the word intimidation and love, truth be told, they're just a total oxymoron because they don't go together. If you love someone, they shouldn't be intimidated by you.
Okay, so, right, fine. We got to sit down to talk about it.
Okay.
So, how does the conversation go so the other party will not feel hurt?
Great. So the first thing you do is this. When it comes to handling a very toxic relationship, and this is dicey because toxicity by itself is a dynamic that seeks to get power and control in a relationship. So when you're talking to someone in a relationship whose original intent is to get power and control, and you're trying to talk to them about something as it affects you, which is toxicity, you have to be careful. The first thing you do is you do up a table for yourself, because before you approach a toxic person, you need to have your self-esteem intact. You need to be sure of yourself. You start with yourself. So the first thing you do is you bring out a sheet of paper. You write out, you create 3 columns. Where we are, what I would like us to have, and the possibilities of what we could be.
Oh.
You write it out for yourself because you need to read it, you need to be sure, you need to learn it. Because questions will come, attitudes will come that will make you doubt yourself.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because there are different types of toxic people. So depending on the type you're dealing with, you need to arm yourself with knowledge, first and foremost, before you engage.
Wow. Okay, that's that's serious. I think we have some messages already coming in, but we'll get to take them later. Let's take the different types of toxic persons in relationship one by one.
Okay.
So which would be the first one you want to go?
Well, there are about 7 toxic types that you will ever encounter.
Okay, in the course of your...
In the course of my practice, yes.
Yeah, because you practice here in Nigeria, so
Yes.
you must have, which are the most popular cases you get to handle?
Great. So there are about 7, like I said, but the most popular ones you get, there are about 4 of them. Now, the first is what we call the choker.
The choker.
Yes, you know these things women put on their necks.
Okay, give me a minute. All right, I hope you're following this conversation. We've been talking with Temple Obike. He's a family, life, and marriage therapist, and we're talking about toxic relationship, being in relationships where you are not yourself, you're not your full self, you are just trying to get on with the relationship, but somehow deep in your mind, you are not really happy. Be a part of this conversation by reaching us on our phone line, 081 177 2020. Remember, it is a text-only number. Do not call. Send your messages so we can take as many as possible. The number is showing on your screen already. All right, Temple, let's get back to the first one.
All right. So I'd like to talk about the choker. Now, when you start off a relationship, you find out that, and this is of course an instance, you find out that your partner is all over you, your partner is, so warm, your partner wants to be with you all the time. It's such a very adorable thing at the beginning of a relationship. And you find out that you have to constantly tell them, oh, you know what, I'm here for you, I belong to you, don't worry, everything will be fine.
Okay, let me pause there. Now, in the love languages type,
Yes.
that's partner who likes choking is what now?
You will, on the reverse side, you will look at it like it was somebody whose love language is quality time.
Quality time. So he believes.
Yeah. So for you, you're looking at it like, oh, okay, this is
Maybe your
somebody.
love language is gifts, for instance.
Yes.
Oh.
But this person enjoys quality time, and it's an amazing thing at the onset.
Okay.
But as you progress with the relationship, let's say the relationship morphs into a marriage, for instance, and both of you get married, and all of a sudden, you find out that now you're married, you expect that this person is going to relax a bit. Now they are with you. I'm your own and you're mine.
Yes.
So you should relax. But truth be told, they're not letting off steam. They're still on that trajectory. And you find out that all of a sudden you're explaining. All of a sudden you have to tell them where you went to. All of a sudden you need to tell them who you were with. And of course, this is considering the fact that you have not given them room to suspect you or distrust you previously. But now you find out that with the choker, you constantly need to validate them. And before you know it, your car is being bugged, your phones are being tapped, and it goes wild from there. The second type I'd like to talk about, because this is something we encounter all the time, is what I call the guilt farmer. Now,
the guilt farmer.
Yes, I call them the guilt farmer because when I sit across couples and I listen to them speak sometimes, and it's so easy to identify a guilt farmer because their partners constantly feel like they're in a courtroom.
Yes.
Because everything is almost like a verdict. It's almost like guilty, guilty, guilty. So you're constantly in defense mode.
Yeah, always playing defense.
Yes, you're constantly in defense mode. And the sad thing about guilt farmers and most other types of toxicity is that these are things that we pick up from childhood. Because nobody jumps out of nowhere and becomes toxic. There was a question you asked, before we started about parents and what they would say. And I said something about them giving their advice based on the threshold of abuse they were able to withstand. And this is where it gets really interesting. When parents begin to try to control their older kids, without knowing it, most of the parents out there are actually guilt farmers as well.
Tell us, explain how that works.
And I'll give you an instance.
Okay.
You find out that parents, the older kids get and the more independent they become financially, maybe the kid is grown, you now have you're on your own. You've set out on your own path. You find out that the parent knows they can't turn you over and give you a hiding anymore. But you find out that your parents, when they're talking to you, most of what they might say is almost bordering on emotional blackmail. Where they tell you, you know what, you have to come to this event, it's a family gathering. You're like, but do I really have to be here? They're like, no, you have to be here. You have to be here. But because the truth is, if you don't, then you've done everything you will be doing to me. You've done it all. And you're guilty.
Emotional blackmail.
And that's how you know. And one of the things we need to watch out about for guilt farmers is that when you notice that there's someone around you who, whenever they forgive you, you feel light. You feel relieved because they've forgiven you. It's almost like they give you forgiveness as a gift. So they forgive you and you're like, they've forgiven me. And tomorrow, you're guilty again.
Okay.
Then they forgive you again, you're light. Once you notice that oscillation...
Wait, do the guilt farmer, do they intentionally do that to make you feel guilty?
Yes, it's a tool.
Wow.
Because
to keep
that's
you
the
in
tool,
control.
that's how they get control and power in a relationship.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, Temple, let's take a few messages.
All right.
When your partner cheats and lies about it until you find out, do you take him or he back after several pleas and remorse feelings? That's one. Let's take two. Let's take two questions.
Okay.
I love someone and he doesn't love me. What do I do? Please write your name and where you're writing from. Thank you. Sure.
Okay. So when your partner cheats and cheats consistently and apologizes for cheating, the first thing I need you to understand is that infidelity is a cognitive action. Cognitive in the sense is it's a learned behavior. The guy who cheated on you in 2018 is not the same guy who is cheating on you in 2022. He's learned.
You think so?
Of course, he's evolved.
Is it possible that he has gotten better?
No,
at
he's
cheating?
obviously. He's evolved. It's not the same guy who cheated on you in 2022.
He has
So,
improved on his stature.
so what it simply means is that if you have someone on your hands who is consistently cheating and always apologizing because they got caught, there's a difference between cheating, feeling remorseful, and coming out to your partner. But there's a difference between cheating, getting caught, and apologizing over and over again. That learned behavior, that aspect of infidelity is worrisome. Because a partner who cheats on you, be it a husband, be it a boyfriend or a girlfriend,
A serial cheat.
is a serial cheat, as long as they do it consistently. Because there are different types of affairs. If you have an affair, the first thing you do is understand why you had an affair. If you understand why you had an affair, you can unbundle an affair. But if you do not understand it, you will keep having affairs. So to the second question, I have a partner who loves me. And
I love someone and he doesn't love me.
And he doesn't love me. Okay, well, love is mutual. Love is a two-way street. And I always tell people, when you talk about love, first of all, understand what love means to you.
To you, yeah.
Because love, I hear people say, oh, I'm in love. And it's shocking that as a therapist, after sitting down on the couch for 12 years and listening to people, I get to a point where I'm struggling with the concept of love. And I'll tell you what the struggle is. It's not like I don't believe it exists, but I don't believe in the definition it has. Because when people say, oh, I'm in love, the question I ask you is two people who are about to get divorced. I see people who are about to get divorced quite frequently. And one of the questions I pose is, do you still love your partner? But you know the strange thing, for every time I ask that question, 70 to 80% of the time what I get is, yes, I still love my partner, but you know what?
But
We have irreconcilable differences. So the truth is, what are those irreconcilable differences? There's an exercise that pulls out what love means to you. Love is unique. What love truly is are the things that attracted your partner to you.
so, in answer to this person.
So answering these people's questions, the first thing is, something attracted you to your partner. So if you're saying your partner does not love you back, first of all, you need to define and understand what love truly means for your partner. Maybe they are showing you something you're not seeing.
Yeah, and sometimes the person may just be carried away by something about the partner. Maybe the person doesn't even understand what love is. I don't know, because love, the definition of love, there's no one universal.
There's no one universal definition.
Definition of
Just
love.
know what the person loves about you that got them attracted. If not, it's infatuation.
Okay, we have a couple more of your messages. Do send us a message on our phone line, 081 177 82020. Text messages and WhatsApp only, remember. Then we are going to take our next feature, and this next feature is taking a look at holding on to unreciprocated love. Why do people do it?
Love is what binds people together. Love is full of compromise. But the question is, why do people stay in relationships where the affection and efforts are not reciprocated? Have you found yourself in such a situation? On paper, things appear black and white. It seems logical that if a situation causes harm to your well-being, whether it is emotionally or physically, that one would simply leave. However, when emotions are involved, things are rarely that simple. Statistics of current relationship trends indicate that people tend to interpret love selfishly, which is a lot different from what the word actually entails. Love has become a safety net. For some, they go into marriages and relationships for the sole purpose of achieving their undisclosed aim, which might not favor their partner. Being with someone for the wrong reasons tend to bring about unreciprocated love to the recipient, and holding on to the person even when the odds are glaring may cause more harm than good, mentally and sometimes physically. Holding on to your partner even when it is obvious you do not love them, in some cases is because your partner might be giving you a sense of security, care, emotional, physical, and psychological support. And other reasons might be out of pity because of the fear of your partner being depressed, having low self-esteem, or committing suicide. As a result of these fears, your partner might choose to stay back in the relationship. Nobody has ever measured how much a heart can hold. Love is a fire, but whether it is going to warm your heart or burn down your house, you never can tell. Regardless, we shouldn't limit ourselves while loving because of the fear of the unknown. Love freely and selflessly, and only then will you understand that being deeply loved by someone can give you strength, but loving someone deeply gives you courage.
That's a feature by Iberi Oka for taking a look at love and holding on to unreciprocated love. Okay, let's take a couple of your messages because I see them coming in. So many of your messages. Now, who is this? Sorry, please don't call. When you call, I don't get to read the other messages. All right, who is this now? This is Baba Gana from Abuja. He says, there's nothing to manage in a toxic relationship. There's something legislators call take a bow and leave. It's better to walk away than be dead. Yes, that reminds me of some of the incidences we see, how partners get to stab their other half for some reasons, and sometimes it gets really gory. Really gory. So
True.
how do you endorse walk away and leave, or do you think it's something that can be worked?
Well, when it comes to being in a toxic relationship, the first thing I need everybody to understand is that we all come packed with a measure of toxicity ourselves. Yes. Yes, as sad as it is.
Yeah.
So once you can identify the fact that you also have a measure of toxicity, it gives you the patience level to be able to even engage a partner who is toxic. There was an advice I gave initially. The advice was write out everything you need to know about what your expectations are about the relationship. Engage with your partner. Tell them that these are your expectations and these are the things you're not getting. If your partner truly loves you, they should be able to come to a table where both of you can have a conversation, especially if they also have grievances against you that they can also level against you, and both of you can come to a place where you can have that conversation. If it does not happen, I advise partners to be able to see separation as an option, where you give yourself a time-bound separation. Because a separation where you don't put a timeline to and you go apart easily slips into a divorce.
Can people be separated in the same house?
You can actually arrange it, but ideally a separation should occur outside of the same physical space. It could be anything from a weekend where two of you decide, you know what, this weekend, go to your mother's place, or I leave the house for you. You know, have your space. Let's reassess where we are. It could be 3 months, it could be 6 months, it could be a year.
Yeah, but
then when it doesn't work, at that point, everybody goes their separate ways.
Welcome to Nigeria, where the man is the head of the house. There's this whole ego thing. Then the woman calls for I think we need to sit down and talk about this thing. So it has come to the level where you have to call me to sit down and talk.
Yes, you're very right, and this is a very sad occurrence because it is the norm. It is the norm in society. I hear it every day. But if your wife wants to talk and you are miffed at the fact that your wife called you to have a conversation, then it means that there's no mutual respect in that marriage. Your wife is not subservient to you. Your wife should be submissive to you. But even in the submissiveness, submission is something you give to your partner as a gift. It is not demanded for. When you demand submission, it's almost like telling somebody you must respect me. Once you hear a man say you must respect me, there's already a problem.
Okay, let's take a couple of these messages very quickly.
Okay.
This person, once again, you've not written your name or where you're writing from, but he said, my husband always accused me of stealing his money. I don't feel comfortable with him. That's one. Then this other person says, a partner that is illiterate but helped me. Then I married him. After marriage, he changed. He started abusing me and talks anyhow to me. Please, what can I do? Can you note those two? I'll take a third one. Good afternoon. Good day, Cecil and Temple. I need answers to what I'm going through. Please, I have a friend who kisses me and says we are not in a relationship, but what should I do? But
well, sorry.
take the last one first.
Okay.
Let's take the last one first.
Well, I think at this point we might need to delineate between the kisses, because I know there are different types of kisses. Maybe it could be a kiss to the forehead, a kiss to the cheek,
Okay.
or anything. But if we're talking about the kiss, which is like a passionate kiss, someone who kisses you and tells you that you guys are not in a relationship, you need to really find out what you guys are doing. You must ask him what you're doing. Because if he says you're not in a relationship, then I think he's implanting suggestions in your mind. You don't want somebody who is suggestive. You need someone who is assertive, who knows exactly what they want. Yes. Then the second thing, the second question there was.
The second question is the person talking about an illiterate partner who helped.
Yes.
Who helped her, and then after marriage, he changed, started beating her, and talks to her anyhow. What can she do?
Okay, let me twist it. A Harvard-trained partner who both of you were in a relationship and maybe he was a drug addict and you ended up marrying him and he was indebted to you and he changed and started beating you. It's still the same thing as an illiterate partner who you got married to and he changed and started beating you. The most important thing here is not what they were before you married them. The most important thing is who they are and what they are doing to you. Abuse, the sad thing about abuse is when we do not recognize it for what it is. Recognize abuse and we actually start reducing its prevalence.
And in this message, she's trying to paint it. Sometimes you try to paint it that the person can. Sometimes we give excuses for the abuser. All right, let's take the person who says the husband accuses her of stealing his money and she's not feel comfortable.
Well, if your husband accuses you of stealing his money, it simply means your husband does not trust you. And the sad thing about it, and of course, when I say this, because I don't know you or your husband, I'm just saying this based on the question you asked. It means your husband doesn't trust you. So I think the most important conversation you should be having with your husband is a conversation that is based on trust. Is there anything I have done since we got married that has gotten you to a point where you stopped trusting me? Because you need to know. Because if a husband doesn't trust you with money, who else does he trust with money? That's the second question you need to ask yourself.
All right, very deep question we should ask ourselves. Just before we go on the next feature break. Good afternoon. Toxic relationship, cohabitation, and weed dating. I don't know what weed dating is. All right, this person says, I can never be in a toxic relationship. Well, good for you. Good afternoon. I'm Love Day, chatting from Enugu. What are really signs that a female you have the intention of building a relationship with does not have interest? Okay, I think Love Day is trying to say he wants to build a relationship with someone who doesn't have interests. That sounds really simple to me. I think I would just say, take a bow and just remain friends. I don't know. The therapist might have something different.
Well, just on a quick note, if you can't love somebody, yes, I know there are people who get into a relationship with the other person having to work up to the love level. Okay. But if you're in a relationship with someone who is not interested, you know, by all means.
Sorry, I was just laughing. This next question is funny. Emmanuel, please, sir, can you date someone without informing the person you are dating? I'm sorry, Emmanuel. I'm not laughing.
Goodness. Emmanuel, you know, there's a thing as dating yourself. You know, when you're dating someone who does not know you're dating them, it's almost tantamount to dating yourself. You know, you should inform someone, a love interest. Inform them, they need to be aware. Okay,
Emmanuel, please. The person needs to be aware, because it sounds like I've just kidnapped the person to date you or something. All right, you know what? I set this music break for us to just relax a little before we get to continue. And this one is from one of my favorite artists, Simi. And it's this one she calls You're Gone for Good. You know, it's a breakup song. And anyhow, let's get to enjoy it.
The word around town is that you're back in town, and I try not to think about it. I try, but it's been so long, and I thought I moved on, but now I really doubt it. I do. I wonder why you even come. It's almost like you're having fun with me. But oh, if I set my eyes on you, it's unavoidable, I'll come undone. Oh, I thought you were gone for good. So why you have to pull me back? Shapey, you say you won't be coming back. Oh, damn you, this is really bad. Shapey, you say you were gone for good. What did you do wrong? 'Cause you knew all along I was doing okay without you. You know, make I try to move on. Try, your heart is too strong. Can't be with you and can't be without you. Didn't be, say I wonder why you even come. Oh, it's almost like you're having fun with me. But oh, if I set my eyes on you, it's unavoidable, I'll come undone. Oh, I thought you were gone for good. So why you have to pull me back? Shapey, you say you won't be coming back. Oh, damn you, this is really bad. Shapey, you say you were gone for good. Tell me why you have to pull me back. Shapey, you say you won't be coming back. Oh, damn you, this is.
Okay, thank you very much, Simi. I really love your music all the time. So, who is this? Let's take a couple of your messages. This is Ibrahim from Minananja State. My question is, please, I love someone, but I don't trust her. Please, what do I do? All right, that's one. Is it possible for someone that was insecure and was in a toxic relationship to change? If yes, what's the process? Alfred from Rivers State. All right, can I take Alfred first?
All right.
Yeah, you get a question, right?
I do.
Okay.
I do. So, Alfred, if you were in a toxic relationship and it got you to a point of insecurity, the first step towards real change is identifying that there's a problem in the first place. So the fact that you know that you were in a relationship that changed you as a person, I think it's part of the job done. The next thing you need to do is to either opt in for therapy with the help of a professional near you to help you walk you through. But if you can't find that, what you need to start doing is keep an emotional log. For every single time you feel yourself going out of term, out of step with your partner, maybe you're suspecting them without them having done anything per se. Put it down, and next to it, write out what triggered it, because there's a trigger. There's something that happens that reminds you of something else. So when you put it down next to it, what you do is you start building a log for yourself. After a while, that log begins to tell you a story.
Okay.
It starts telling you, for every time this happens, I react. When this happens, I react. And what you know, what you have, what you preempt, you have power over.
Okay, we'll take more very, very quickly, and then you give us the next two
All right.
of the types. My partner doesn't like me traveling at all. He feels I'm cheating once I'm out. And right now, I'm pregnant with depression. Yet he refuses. I'm pregnant with depression, yet he refuses to feel my pain or help. All right, who is this? What if you have a partner that cheats and doesn't apologize? Gift from Ekpe.
So which of them do we take first?
Whichever you want to take first.
Okay, so there's a lady that said her partner doesn't trust her. Then there's another lady that said she's pregnant, but her partner also doesn't trust her. So I think we'll combine both. When it comes to trust and relationships, like I said earlier, there are three major things it takes for a relationship to work. The first is communication, good communication. The second is intimacy. And the third is trust. These are the three things you build an amazing relationship on. If you do not have trust for your partner, it means that something at some point would have happened, or it means that you're married to someone who is insecure, naturally.
Okay.
So you need to figure out which of those it is. If it is from the person, they need to work on themselves. If you have done something to trigger distrust, you need to become accountable. And accountability means you need to tell them where you are for a period. It's not you doing it forever.
Okay.
Until they get to a point where they start to trust you again. You rebuild trust.
Or you make them actually continue, you make it a trend, and you are just committed to always explaining yourself.
Yes.
That can happen too.
Yes, which is why I said you do it for a while until they get to that point.
Yeah, but if you give for a while and you stop, it can be a problem too, because then you now wonder, hey, she has stopped now, that's a problem.
Which is why they need to know as well.
Okay,
Yes.
I know he has so much to say, and you have so many questions to ask. Talking about trust and commitment, we put a feature together on that, and I think you might really like it.
Having a good partner who understands you, listens to you, and above all, cares for you through the good and not so good times is everyone's prayer. And in the thirst for that, some end up disappointed, abandoned, dumped, or betrayed. When a partner trusts the other half completely and later gets betrayed, that act can be most devastating experience to bear. To start a healthy relationship, both parties should scan and ask the following questions. Is it safe for me? Can I rely on this person at all times? Is this person trustworthy? Will this person be committed to me? When these questions have been thought through, you have two options: taking the next step or not going on the next level. At the moment the relationship starts, the goal should be to build trust, since neither partner is 100% sure of the other. When some level of trust has been established, commitment sets in. This is a pledge, an important ingredient that keeps them together. In every relationship, there are conflicts, but with trust and commitment, the union can only get stronger. The heart is broken, a wound that must heal. Love isn't just a word, but an action that sticks without fail. The journey of commitment is unseen, built on consistency and in keeping your words. Attach determination and I will pay attention. To your call of conviction, give me the benefit of doubt as I take the chance not to hurt. Express your feelings as I build my bridge in your hearts. Unconditionally believe me, for I am more than strength. Hold on to me as I find the way to your hearts. With commitment, there comes trust.
Okay, thank you very much. If you're just joining us, this is the Medley Show with Cecil, and of course, I'm your girl, Simply Cecil. I will be managing toxic relationships. I have my guest with me on set, Temple Obike, a therapist, and he's been talking to us about it. And I see your messages coming in, so many, and it really pains me sometimes when I really can't take your messages. Yeah, your own messages, I know, but there's nothing I can do about it. But as much as possible, just send it. You just may be lucky I will get to read your messages. Please tell your brothers and sisters who have been calling this line not to call this line so that I can read your messages, you know. And our phone line once again is 081 177 2020. Showing on your screen right now. Temple, you explained, you talked about first two types
Yes.
of toxic relationships. Very interesting. That's the
choker.
the choker and
the guilt farmer.
Tell us the third and fourth.
Okay, now for the third, we have who I like to refer to as the Goliath syndrome. Now, these guys are the people who you find out that with them, when you're in their presence, you're always battling intimidation because their tool of trade is intimidation. They are the brutes. They are the guys who will shout you down. They don't want you to have a voice. So in a relationship, you find out that there's a dynamic. They are also masters of insensitive jokes. They are the ones who you find out that with them, they say things at random. They don't really care how it drops.
Okay, give me an example. For instance, the guy is, the Goliath is, maybe he's from an influential family and he gets to marry someone who is not or she is from an influential family, so and he is not so much. So sometimes she rubs it in to make the person feel like, after all, nobody we pay the bride price.
You're right. You see, and I like the fact that you twisted it. You said, or she is. Because, you know, sometimes when we talk about toxicity, most times there's always like a male stereotype where people assume naturally that males are more toxic than females. But in actual fact, it's either ways. So back to your question. You find somebody who is from a well-to-do family, and you find out that because their partner isn't that well-to-do or does not come from that privileged background, you find out that without even knowing it sometimes, they usually are not open to conversation with them. It's almost like their way or the highway. They don't want you to have a voice. So you find out with them, these are people who will make insensitive jokes. They can crack jokes that they know affect you psychologically, emotionally, and physically. But truth be told, they're not really, they could be bothered the least about it.
Sometimes they don't know how it hits you.
They don't know how it hits you. Now, the fourth type I'd like to talk about are the ones I call the opportunists. And you see, these ones they're a very special group. If I like to put them that way, they're a special group.
Okay.
Because looking at the society we live in today and the way things are, you see, with the opportunists, they are usually really nice people to everybody. They are nice, they are charming. And with them, you find out that you have no qualms whatsoever doing things for them because they almost look like they appreciate what you do.
Oh, yes.
And the fact that they look like they appreciate what you do, what happens to you is that spurs you to do more.
To do more. Yes.
But, you see, their toxic nature comes out when what you used to do for them stops. The moment you stop what you used to do for them, what they automatically do is they need to look around immediately and find out who else can fill up that void. And the sad thing about this type is that you never know you're with a toxic person until you get to a point where you may not be able to do what you do for them. It could be financial. Maybe this is somebody you assist financially.
Yes, and then this is the case where you now hear, maybe finally, maybe this time you don't get to do it for them. Now say, oh, Nari, this thing I asked you for.
Yes.
They don't forget the 755 times when they
Yes.
actually helped you.
Yes.
And now they don't hold on to those
The
ones
one
to
thing
say,
you didn't do for them. That is the type. And it usually occurs when there are financial dynamics at play. So with this type, you find out that the person involved may not know it until they get to a point where they are in lack and they
Yes,
can't carry out certain things anymore. And it usually cuts deeper. These are the ones that lead a lot of people to suicide. These are the ones that lead people to acute depression because they lead you on until the edge.
Whew, okay, so much, you know. Let's just take a pause. We're back for our last segment of discourse. And, you know, there's a conversation it's an argument that is just ongoing. And that is the one of who cheats more. All the men will tell you that, the women, they so cheats that you never catch them. Then the women tell you that, the men, they are born to be cheats. Well, we went on the streets and sought to know from you what your thought is about this discussion. Who cheats more, the man or the woman?
The female cheats the more in a relationship because I think they have this spirit of infidelity in them. So most times relationship gets to go into dish because of probably what some men use in enticing their ladies.
I'll give it to the men. The men cheat most because women have the mentality of this polygamous nature where they don't tend to be satisfied with the woman. They want to go outside, maybe to be keeping the lady. It's okay, they might be loving her, no problem. They give her whatever she wants. But at the end of the day, they will be going outside to cheat. And that is just their nature.
For me, I would say in most cases, women end up being the one that cheats the most in a relationship because they don't have the mental capacity to bear some pains because they just believe that everything should always go on fine in every situation they find themselves.
Many men do cheat a lot than women, simply because a lot of men have the freedom of going about looking for one girlfriend and the other. You understand? But most women are restricted because of their gender. They are restricted to certain places and certain things they do.
Women cheat most than men. Why? Because there are some men who are sincere. But there are some women, they will try to get from here, get from here. That's why I see many women lost at the end.
I think it's the man, because by nature, men are promiscuous. It is only by the grace of God, the fear of God, that make them to control that ability. Because a man is moved by what he sees. And so if a man doesn't have the fear of God, he chases everything he sees because that is how God had made them.
Both of them cheat. If you don't have like me, for example, if you don't have a God-fearful woman, when you left home, your wife or your woman can do anything with them, like. And the women like nowadays women that we have, most of them they cheat.
Okay, well, that's an argument that we can never really get the end of. And if I ask Temple now, Temple will tell me, you've heard that over and over again. Yes, I have. And you've heard the part where they say a man is in their nature. Is it really in their nature?
Men are polygamous by nature.
Polygamous by nature.
Well, for me, I think when it comes to this issue of cheating, I think at the end of the day, I think there are a lot more, and this is obviously research-based, the men are more inclined to cheat than women are. But in the past 2-3 years, there's been an uprise in the number of women, the ratio of women to men when it comes to infidelity. And this is as a result of the fact that a lot of women are also becoming a bit more empowered. You know, for men, they felt a bit more privileged at the time, where they felt that most of them had a lot more earning power. And with earning power came a lot of decision-making power. But now with the women, some of them are also starting to rise through the ranks, which is an amazing thing.
Okay.
You know, but of course, it's also contributing to a lot of cheating.
Okay, I just want us to take as much as we can take. I have a very good friend of mine. I love and trust her, but never know she's dating my boyfriend. So what should my reaction towards her be? I'm still Lucy Paul from Kano State. Lucy Paul, please, let's just stick with what we're talking about, toxic relationship and small successful. Let's go straight to the point. We have so many messages. Or do you want to touch on that very quickly?
Just briefly,
Yeah.
a boyfriend who sleeps with your friend,
Your friend, yes.
will become a husband who sleeps with another woman.
Simple. Wow, I like that. Good day. Please, I noticed when I and my partner are not together, I miss, and when I want to see him, but once he's around, I get irritated and always angry. Briefly.
Okay, amazing question. That means that you and your partner need to bond, because if you're getting irritated when you're with your partner, it means that you're more in love with the concept of being with him than actually being with him.
Can one quit a toxic toxic relationship or marriage, or manage it after marriage? Sorry, let me take again. AB from Benin, I don't get your message. Can one quit a toxic relationship or manage it if after marriage the relationship becomes toxic? Can they manage it after marriage?
Well,
how did you even get married to when you know they was toxic before?
Good question, because except of course, let's assume the person wasn't toxic when they were dating, and now after marriage you found out that the person was a toxic person. What you do is simply write out what you want, what you do not like, where both of you currently are, what you hope to change, and what it will impact, or its impact in your marriage when it changes. Then have this conversation with your partner. If your partner truly loves you, they will on board with this conversation. If they do not on board, you need to let them know that this is enough. It's a serious enough issue that can break the both of you apart.
All right, Damilola from Lagos is asking, I had a relationship which at all times will quarrel on just very little things, and every time my woman never gives peace easily. We have been together for 4 years now. Okay, they actually are always arguing, and he says that the woman never gives him peace.
So what does he want to know?
He's asking what to do. I don't know how to answer that.
What to do? Well, peace is relative. It depends on what peace means to him. You know, if peace for you is having you time to relax, or peace for you is both of you hanging out, you need to define what peace is to your wife.
Okay, let's take this. Good afternoon. My name is Aishat from Lokoja, Kogi State. There is this man I'm in love with, and he said he wants to marry me, but he doesn't give me anything. Rather, he do collect from me. Although he told me he doesn't have salary for now because he's trying to pay a loan with his salary, but I'm scared of marrying him.
Amazing. Aishat, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing you need to do is figure out what he used the loan for, because he had the capacity to get something from maybe a financial house or from somebody who gave him money, but because he needed it for something. I think the first place to start from is understand what he used the loan money for. If you get to the root of it, then you can begin to figure out why he doesn't give you money. Does he not give you money because it's in his nature not to give you money? Or does he not give you money simply because he cannot afford to give you money at this point? I think the first thing you need to get to the root of is what that loan was used for.
And was he giving her money before?
And if he was giving you money prior to the loan.
Yeah, to the loan.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Cecil and Temple. I'm Angel from Bayelsa. I have a boyfriend that I love so much, but he tells me he loves me, but I am not sure because he doesn't... Your message is not complete. Okay, let's take another person. My name is Ishak from Kaduna. What means? Okay, please, Ishak, send your message again in English. I'm Bala from New Busa. I love someone, but she's pregnant for someone. What can I do to let her know that I'm deeply in love with her?
Well, Bala, I know these are issues that touch the heart, and you see, if you love someone who is pregnant for someone else, if she tells you in that state that she loves you, you need to approach it carefully. because it could also be out of desperation, but it could also be out of the fact that maybe she's recognized that you were a better choice for her. But what I would advise you to do is allow her give birth, allow her get to a point where whatever decisions she's making as it concerns you will have nothing to do with the current circumstances at hand.
Okay.
Yes.
We have to leave now, but Yosef from Port Harcourt has sent a message 5 times.
Okay.
So let me just take it. I love someone, but I've been trying for both of us to move together, and I planned for our marriage. She's not responding well. What should I do? In 1 or 2 sentences.
To move together as
She wants to move. She wants them to move in together, I
Okay.
think, or move on to the next level together. But she's not responding well, according to him. What can he do?
Well, at this point, you have to also consider, because at this point we might need to delve into a bit of spirituality, because if this person is a Christian and she's not moving in with you, I think it's the right thing to do. Because if you love someone, the first thing you do is get married to them. After you get married to them, then they can move in with you. There's a process to these things.
Temple Obike, thank you very much for coming around, and I appreciate so much. I like the many points and angles you've looked at, even though we know there are 7, but you've been able to take 4, which I think encapsulates so much. Yes. Hopefully we'll bring you back again when next you're in town.
With all pleasure.
All right, we've been talking managing toxic relationships, those relationships where you are just managing, where you are not too sure, you are a little sad, but you just feel like you should be there. These are the relationships we've been trying to talk about, and your messages have been coming in. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. But that is the much we can take on the program for today. I'm your girl, Simply Cecil, signing out.